Tom Ford suit retails in the United States for $4,500. The construction is fused. The interlining bonded to the outer fabric with heat-activated adhesive, the same method used in suits at Men's Wearhouse. The fabric is Italian. The lapels are sharp. The store is beautiful. The adhesive will begin failing within 2 to 4 years of regular dry cleaning, producing the bubbling and separation that marks the end of a fused jacket's usable life. At $4,500, you have purchased a garment with the construction of a $400 department store suit, packaged inside one of the most expensive retail experiences in American men's fashion. This is not the only example, it is simply one of the most expensive. The luxury fashion scam is not one operation. It is a series of overlapping practices, fused construction at canvas prices, corrected grain at full grain prices, licensed product at owned production prices, outlet manufacturing at mainline prices. Each designed to extract premium from a customer who has been trained to trust price as a quality signal. The training is intentional. The industry depends on it. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which scams are operating, which brands are running them, and what to buy instead. These are not opinions, they are construction facts, material classifications and price comparisons that hold up to examination. Scam 1. Tom Ford, fashion house pricing, department store construction. Tom Ford is the clearest American example of designer name pricing applied to construction that does not justify it, because the gap between the brand's positioning and its product reality is measurable, specific and larger than almost any other brand in the American luxury market. Tom Ford, the brand, was launched in 2006, 2 years after Tom Ford, the designer, left Gucci. It was built on the designer's personal reputation, his transformation of Gucci in the 1990s, his film work, his image, and positioned immediately at the very top of the American luxury menswear market. A Tom Ford suit at launch was $3,500 to $4,000. In 2023, the same category retails at $4,500 to $6,500, depending on the fabric and configuration. The brand was acquired by Estée Lauder in 2022 for $2.8 billion, adding conglomerate ownership pressure to an already premium-priced line. The construction reality: Tom Ford suits in their main ready-to-wear line are fused. This is documented by tailors who have worked on them, menswear forums where owners have reported delamination, and the straightforward lapel roll test that anyone can perform in a store. A fused lapel at $4,500 is the same construction as a fused lapel at $600. The adhesive does not understand price points. A Tom Ford Shelton suit in their standard wool configuration retails at approximately $4,500. The fabric is Italian, typically sourced from quality mills. The cut is precise. The store presentation is exceptional. None of those things change the interlining. And the interlining is what determines whether the jacket survives 4 years of regular wear or begins delaminating at the chest in the second year. Compare directly to Kiton, a Neapolitan tailoring house producing entirely in Naples, under family ownership, using full canvas construction throughout their ready-to-wear line. A Kiton sport coat retails in the United States at $4,000 to $5,500. The construction is full canvas. The lapels are hand-padded. The chest-floating canvas molds to the body over years of wear. The jacket improves. The Tom Ford jacket deteriorates. Same price tier. Kiton is full canvas. Tom Ford is fused. At $4,500, Tom Ford is charging a full canvas price for fused construction and relying on the designer's name, the store experience, and the customer's assumption that price reflects quality to bridge the gap. This is not a small gap. It is the difference between a jacket that gets better and a jacket that gets worse. At $4,500, the customer deserves to know which one he is buying. The designer's name is on the label, the adhesive is in the jacket. Only one of those things is working in your interest. Scam 2. Versace logo premium on licensed product. Versace sells 2 things simultaneously: a fantasy of Italian excess and a product reality that is substantially disconnected from that fantasy at the construction level. The gap between what Versace markets and what Versace makes, or more precisely what Versace commissions others to make under its name, is one of the more instructive examples of how licensing economics work in luxury fashion. Versace was acquired by Capri Holdings in 2018 for $2.1 billion. Capri Holdings is a publicly traded American company that also owns Michael Kors and Jimmy Choo. Its acquisition strategy is the same playbook used by LVMH and Kering. Purchase a heritage brand, maintain the marketing infrastructure, expand distribution and manage production costs to improve margin. A Versace dress shirt retails in the United States for $450 to $750 depending on the style. The fabric is typically Italian cotton, in many cases a legitimate quality fabric at the thread count specified. The construction is machine stitched throughout, the collar interfacing is fused, the seam allowances are standard, the manufacturing is contracted through production partners whose specific standards are not disclosed. The Medusa logo appears on the buttons, the cuffs and the packaging. The logo is the selling point. The shirt beneath it is a standard Italian fabric dress shirt priced at a level that reflects the brand equity Capri Holdings acquired for $2.1 billion. Not the fabric or the stitching. At $500, a Versace dress shirt is competing directly with Turnbull and Asa, a British shirt maker on Jermyn Street in London, with United States availability through their website and select retailers, whose shirts start at $350 in their sale line and reach $450 to $650 in their standard range. Turnbull and Asa shirts are made in England in their own production facility, using two-fold cotton from established mills with hand finishing on collars and cuffs that the Versace production process does not include. The construction is verifiable, the production is owned, not contracted, same price. Different product entirely, the Versace customer is paying for the Medusa, the Turnbull and Asa customer is paying for the shirt. The Medusa is on the button, the construction is in the seam. Know which one you are buying. Scam 3. Moncler down jacket pricing at commodity fill. Moncler has built one of the most successful luxury brand premiums in outerwear by doing something specific, taking a commodity product, a down jacket, and applying brand positioning, fashion-forward design and distribution scarcity to price it at a level that suggests the physical product is exceptional when the physical product is largely not. Moncler is an Italian brand founded in 1952 in Grenoble, France, originally producing equipment for mountaineering expeditions, including the Fiki 1954 Italian expedition to K2. It was acquired in 2003 by Remo Ruffini, who repositioned it as a luxury fashion brand, collaborating with designers, opening flagship stores in luxury retail districts globally, and establishing a price structure that placed a standard down puffer jacket at $1,200 to $2,000 in the American market. A Moncler Maya jacket, their most recognizable style, retails in the United States at approximately $1,200 to $1,400. It is filled with 90% down and 10% feather, a quality specification for down fill, but not an exceptional one. Most outerwear brands at $400 to $600 use comparable or identical fill power ratings and fill percentages. The outer shell is nylon. The stitching creates the branded quilted pattern. The construction is not technically complex. A down jacket, regardless of price, is essentially a shell and a fill material, and the manufacturing process is not dramatically more sophisticated at $1,300 than at $300. Canada Goose, at $750 to $1,095 for comparable puffer styles, uses similar fill specifications and shell constructions. The Arctic performance heritage is the focus of Canada Goose marketing. The Moncler product is marketed through its fashion positioning. Neither brand is charging $1,200 for a technically superior product. Both are charging for brand positioning in a category where the underlying product is a commodity. The comparison that establishes the scam most clearly: Moose Knuckles, a Canadian outerwear brand producing in Canada with comparable or superior shell constructions and equivalent fill specifications, retails in the United States at $500 to $750. Rocky Mountain Featherbed, an American outerwear heritage brand using hand-sewn construction and premium goose down, produces jackets at $400 to $600. same category, comparable insulation performance. The Moncler Premium $700 to $900 above honest market pricing for the physical product is entirely brand positioning and retail theatre. The down keeps you warm. The logo does not add warmth. The price difference is not in the jacket. How to identify a luxury scam before you buy. The scams in this video share one mechanism. They charge for something that is not in the product, a designer name, a brand legacy, a fashion positioning, while delivering a product that can be evaluated and compared on material terms. The following 4 tests make that evaluation possible in any store, on any product, in under 5 minutes. Test 1. The construction disclosure test. Before examining any product, ask the brand or the salesperson one direct question about construction method. For suits, fused, half canvas or full canvas. For shoes, cemented Blake stitch or Goodyear welt. For leather goods, machine stitched or saddle stitched. For down jackets, what is the fill power and fill percentage? A brand confident in its construction answers immediately and specifically. A brand whose construction does not justify its price will redirect to fabric, to heritage, to the designer's vision, to the store's reputation. Anything except the specific answer to the specific question. The evasion is the answer. Write down the answer or the evasion before evaluating the price. The construction is the product. Everything else is packaging. Test 2, the physical verification test. Do not trust the answer alone. Verify it physically. For suits, roll the lapel between your fingers. Canvas lapels have a natural yielding curve. Fused lapels have slight resistance and want to lay flat rather than roll. Pinch the chest fabric away from the lining. Canvas allows slight independent movement. Fused moves as one rigid unit. For shoes, turn the shoe over. A welt stitch running around the perimeter of the sole indicates Goodyear or similar welted construction. A smooth, clean edge with no visible stitching indicates cemented construction. This test takes 3 seconds. For leather, press the surface of the leather with your thumb at the toe of a shoe or the front panel of a bag. Full-grain leather yields naturally and springs back. Corrected grain leather is slightly stiffer and the surface moves less naturally because it is coated. Look at the grain pattern. Natural grain is unique and variable. Corrected grain has a uniform, slightly stamped regularity. For down, pick up the jacket and assess the fill-to-shell ratio. A well-filled jacket with genuine down density feels substantial without being heavy. A jacket that feels light and thin relative to its price may be using a lower fill quantity or fill power than the price implies. Test 3. The ownership and production verification test. Before spending more than $500 on any garment or accessory from a brand with heritage positioning, spend 5 minutes researching its current ownership and production model. Is the brand founder-owned or family-owned? Has it been acquired by a conglomerate? Is it publicly traded? Has it moved production from owned facilities to contracted manufacturing? Has it expanded distribution aggressively in the past 5 years? These are all public facts available through basic research. And a brand acquired by a publicly traded conglomerate has quarterly earnings pressure that works against production quality. A brand that has moved from owned to contracted production has reduced its direct control over the construction standard. A brand that has expanded distribution aggressively has increased volume requirements that are incompatible with artisanal production. None of these factors automatically disqualify a brand, but each one is a pressure on quality that should be factored into the price evaluation. A $4,500 suit from a conglomerate-owned brand deserves more scrutiny than a $4,500 suit from a family-owned tailoring house. The same price, very different business structures, very different quality pressures. Test 4. The honest alternative test. For every luxury purchase above $300, identify one honest alternative in the same category before finalizing the decision. The honest alternative is defined as a brand where the price is explained by the price, the material cost, the construction labor, and the overhead of a business that is not funding a global advertising campaign or a flagship store network. The honest alternative does not have to be purchased. The comparison is the point. If the honest alternative delivers comparable or better construction at a significantly lower price, the gap between the two prices is brand premium. You may choose to pay brand premium, that is a legitimate decision. But it should be made consciously, with full knowledge of what the premium is paying for. If the gap between the honest alternative and the branded product is larger than you would pay for the intangible benefit of the brand name alone, the branded product is overpriced relative to its physical value. That is the definition of the scam. If you want to know what your clothes are actually worth before you spend the money, subscribe. This channel follows the construction, not the campaign. The better alternatives. Kiton, the real standard at Tom Ford prices. Kiton is a Neapolitan tailoring house founded in 1956 by Ciro Paoni, operating in Naples under family ownership. It produces approximately 25,000 garments per year, a volume that sounds large until it is compared to the production volumes of conglomerate-owned brands at similar price points. At that volume, Kiton can maintain the hand-finishing standards that full canvas tailoring requires. The brand has not been acquired. It has not been taken public. Its obligation is to the garment and to the customer who will wear it. A Kiton sport coat in their K-jacket line, a softer, unstructured Neapolitan construction, retails in the United States for $3,500 to $4,500. The construction is full canvas throughout. The chest piece is floating horsehair canvas. The lapels are hand-padded with a roll set by hand at the chest canvas. The sleeves are attached by hand with a slight rope at the sleeve head. These are not marketing claims, they are construction steps that require skilled human labour and that produce a jacket that fits and drapes differently and better than machine-assembled alternatives at the same price. At $4,000, Kiton competes directly with Tom Ford. The construction is not comparable. Kiton is full canvas. Tom Ford is fused. The Kiton jacket moulds to the body over years of wear. The Tom Ford jacket begins delaminating within that same time frame. The price is the same. The product is not. The construction is honest. The price reflects the construction. That is what luxury is supposed to mean. Thom Browne, the scam, and the alternative. Thom Browne occupies a specific position in American luxury menswear, a designer brand with a highly recognizable aesthetic. The shrunken silhouette, the grosgrain ribbon trim, the red, white and blue stripe detail that charges luxury prices for construction that is frequently mid-market in its specifications. Thom Browne was acquired by Ermenegildo Zegna Group in 2018. It is now a conglomerate asset with volume requirements, distribution expansion targets, and quarterly reporting obligations. A Thom Browne suit retails in the United States at $1,800 to $3,500. The construction varies by product line, with some pieces half canvas and others fused, and it is not consistently disclosed in product descriptions or by retail staff. The aesthetic is distinctive and recognizable. For a specific customer, that recognizability has value. But the construction at $2,500 does not justify the price against alternatives at the same level. Liverano and Liverano, a Florentine tailoring house producing bespoke and made-to-measure suits in Florence under founder ownership, offers made-to-measure starting at approximately $2,500 to $3,500. The construction is full canvas. The fitting process involves multiple consultations. The resulting garment is made to the specific measurements and posture of one man. At the same price as a Thom Browne suit pulled from a rack in a size approximation, Liverano offers a garment built specifically for the person wearing it, in full canvas construction produced by craftspeople who have done exclusively this for a generation. The Thom Browne stripe is visible. The Liverano fit is personal. For the man who wears the suit rather than signals with it, the choice is clear. The stripe is for the room, the canvas is for the man. Saint Laurent, the leather goods gap. Saint Laurent, formerly Yves Saint Laurent, now owned by Kering, has built a specific and successful position in men's leather goods. A rock and roll, luxury aesthetic, a recognizable monogram option, and price points that place their bags and accessories firmly in the luxury tier at $600 to $2,500 for most categories. The construction reality of Saint Laurent leather goods is consistent with the Kering production model. Corrected grain leather in many of their volume products, machine stitching throughout, plated hardware on most styles, and production in contracted facilities that allow the volumes required to meet quarterly revenue targets. A Saint Laurent monogram wallet retails in the United States at $395 to $595. The leather is typically corrected grain, coated, uniform surface, no natural pattern or development. The stitching is machine done, the hardware is plated. Compared to Saddleback Leather, a direct-to-consumer American brand producing full-grain leather goods with a 100-year guarantee. A Saddleback bifold wallet retails at $79 to $119. The leather is full-grain, vegetable tanned, with a natural surface that develops a deep patina over years of use. The stitching uses a saddle stitch method, two-needle construction that will not unravel if one thread breaks. The hardware is solid brass. The Saint Laurent wallet costs $450 more. It is made from corrected grain leather with machine stitching and plated hardware. The Saddleback wallet is full grain, saddle-stitched, solid brass hardware with a century guarantee. The physical product is not comparable. The Saint Laurent price is not paying for a better wallet. It is paying for the YSL monogram and the Kering brand infrastructure behind it. Same category, the Saint Laurent is the lesser product at the higher price. That is not a close call. The monogram is on the front. The leather is on the inside. The inside tells the truth. Conclusion. The luxury fashion scam is not a single crime. It is a convergence of practices fused at canvas prices, corrected grain at full grain prices, licensed at owned prices, outlet product at mainline prices, commodity fill at premium fill prices that all operate on the same foundational assumption, that the American consumer will not examine the product. That assumption has been highly profitable. It has funded some of the most elaborate retail environments, most compelling advertising campaigns, and most recognizable brand identities in the history of American commerce. The stores are genuinely beautiful. The campaigns are genuinely seductive. The names carry genuine cultural weight. None of that is in the jacket, the shoe, the wallet, or the down jacket. The man who examines the product, who rolls the lapel, turns the shoe over, reads the fiber content label, presses the leather surface, asks the single direct question about construction and evaluates the answer, finds a different market than the one being sold to him. He finds that full canvas is available at fused prices from brands he had not previously considered. He finds that welted shoes at resolable prices are not significantly more expensive than cemented shoes at designer prices. He finds that full-grain leather goods with honest construction are available at a fraction of what corrected grain goods with famous names command. That discovery does not make him cheap, it makes him informed. He still spends money on clothing, he spends it differently, on the garment rather than on the campaign that sold it to him, on the construction rather than on the real estate where the construction was displayed, on the fibre rather than on the adjective that described it. The scam depends on the customer not looking closely. The moment he looks, the scam is visible. The lapel tells it, the sole tells it, the seam tells it, the fibre label tells it. Look closely before you spend. Everything you need to know is already in the garment. It is waiting for you to ask the right question. The label tells you what the brand wants you to believe. The construction tells you what you actually bought.